So, welcome to the hardest section of the game, entirely due to this one level. So, here we are at full moon. And let me tell you, the enemies here, yeah, they're not fun. You'd think these guys would be called Black Knights, but no, they're actually called Stove Faces, which is a pretty hilarious name for some, quite frankly, very tough enemies. Like the toughest in the... Okay, I'll admit, that was actually pretty hilarious. Hats off to you, Castle Crashers. But anyway, yeah, these are probably the second toughest enemies in the game, I'd say. Bar only one that we will see a few of in the final level. But, Stove Faces are not to be trifled with. They do a lot of damage, and they probably don't have that much health, but... quite frankly, because of their damage, I much prefer playing it safe, so this section can go by pretty quickly, but unfortunately, because I don't really like fighting these guys head-on all that much, it takes me a little while to actually get through this. Because I don't want to deal with the beefy dude, because he will really hurt me if I let him, and these guys aren't much better, to be honest. Thankfully, I decapitated that man with sausage, so on we go, and we run into the same encounter in only a slightly different area. The rocks are still falling. They, of course, can hurt the enemies, but it's usually accidental if it does. It kind of has to be moving right towards them in the first place, because otherwise, it's kind of difficult to actually lead them into the boulder. Either way, though, not a fan of this area just because magic and slopes don't exactly mix. It's not too bad down the slope, but up the slope doesn't really work out all the time. By which I mean most of the time. Thankfully, though, at least the beefy dude's down. There's that. I have that to be happy about. Of course, spoilers, we actually have the same encounter 3 times. The third encounter is at least a little bit different, but not by much. And we just stomp that man to death. Take that. Alright, so do I do a certain thing here? Yes, I do. So you can actually... oh, I should be heading back here because 2 more Stove Faces will actually... spawn if you go far enough to the right, but you can actually get the beefy dude to spawn on his own, and fairly easily as well. So you can actually get rid of this guy without too much trouble. Of course, it's a beefy dude, so this is going to take a little while. Actually feels a little bit longer since we're not doing anything else. I guess that's a good reason why little enemies are there, because if you're just killing beefy dudes on their own, it doesn't really feel like you're doing much. Like, yeah, they're powerful, but they work a lot better when you're not only focusing on them. Of course, I should also point out that boulders aren't falling anymore, so you have to deal with these guys on your own, which thankfully isn't going too badly. And with the patented stomps, this guy is pretty much done. Yeah, he tried to get up, but to no avail. Alright, break this mushroom open for an apple. I'm definitely gonna need it, because now we have quite the large group of enemies. This one's a lot more fun than the first 3 sections, just because it's... first off, there's no beefy dudes, second off, it's a large group rather than just 2 small dudes. Also, you don't really have to deal with slopes. I mean, in fairness, you could go up that ladder, but I prefer fighting these guys down here. Oh yeah, and if you haven't noticed already, these guys don't really launch into the air, which is another reason I don't care for them. Because I can't use my usual juggle tactics, because they don't get sent up all that far when you hit them. I wish they did, but then again, they do have heavy armor, so it makes sense that they're kind of grounded. Oh, and another guy comes out. You know, I really didn't want you here, to be honest. I did not need another dude in the area. So this is one of those times where I really don't know if I should heal or just wait for a level up, because I'm kind of far from a level, but at the same time, I might be able to make it. though to be honest, I wouldn't really risk it. If you have to use a potion or two, the sections after Full Moon really aren't too bad. Those are some fairly easy levels, I'd have to say. Full Moon, on the other hand, you could very well die in, and pretty easily, too. Like, I'm doing well now, but stove faces could easily just start tearing through me at any moment. You never know, you gotta be on your toes, and you gotta make sure you are in the best possible condition. That's why I really don't like fighting them this close to a level up, but it's so low health, because now I don't know. Should I take a risk to kill them? And, you know, not waste a potion? Because that could very easily be the end of me, like right there. If I had gotten stabbed and arrowed, I probably would have gotten stunned, and then they would have killed me, and oh god damn it, yet another dude comes in. These guys, I really wish they'd stop spawning. I also wish they were a bit easier to kill. I don't want to fight them on the ground, because that gives them an opportunity to actually go for shots like that. But of course it's a lot slower killing them like this. If I were doing this normally, I probably could have finished this little section by now, but no, I prefer to take it slow, because, again, I'm not that used to ground combat. Much prefer fighting people in the air. Thankfully, though, I'm fairly close to... Ooh, wow, I actually got a fairly random drop there. Again, those are usually somewhat rare. The rarest is the beekeepers, but, of course, under any condition, you don't really need to go after the random drops, because you'll get them when you unlock the actual characters. Because, of course, these guys are playable. They're normal size, they've got normal weapons, they've got magic, I think. Well, yeah, of course they have magic. These guys just don't use it, which is kind of rare. Most guys by this point use their magic, but not stove faces. No, they just prefer to stick with arrows. I mean, it's not like they really need magic. If anything, that would just slow them down, so I can understand why they don't use it. Thankfully, though, no more are spawning in, and since there are only two guys, I feel a little bit safer actually dealing with them. And that takes care of that. And I even get free meat for that. Very nice. Oh, and we just get their weapon anyway. Well, that was kind of pointless. So if you have the Cardinal, you can actually get a new weapon here, but I don't keep the Cardinal on me, so we'll be getting that later. And here's some much easier enemies. These are the Eskimos. I do so love their name, but you can actually juggle these guys, which is great. However, one thing is, their weapons are actually capable of getting critical hits. It's very rare that that actually happens, but I remember one point in which I was doing fairly well, and although these are easy enemies, one actually got a critical shot off on me and killed me from like a mostly full health bar. Which, yeah, I was definitely annoyed at that. Because seriously, these are not very powerful enemies, but one critical shot just ended me. I forget if I was playing as a defensive character, to be honest. I forget if I was, but yeah, I did get wrecked by these guys at one point, which honestly is kind of embarrassing, because these are some of the easiest enemies in the game. Like, I can just utterly destroy them by juggling them, and I don't know if it's just the areas themselves, but for some reason I have a much easier time juggling these guys than most of the enemies in the game. Also, I just realized, remembered that there's really no explanation for the stove faces. They're just kinda here. I don't know what they're on this mountaintop for. Are they like elite knights that are training on top of this mountain and don't interact with the rest of the world? I mean, usually there's some sort of explanation for most of the enemy types. I mean, I'm not saying there has to be. These guys can just sort of be here for no reason, but usually they're connected to some sort of kingdom or something, but nope, stove faces are just here. Which is especially weird since they seem fairly intent on dogging us, at least a little bit. I mean, once we cross the border into wherever these Eskimos are from, they're gonna give up their chase, but for the time being, they are after us at least a little bit. They just did not appreciate our presence at all. Attacked right from the start and did not let up. We kind of killed most of their guys at the bottom of the mountain. It's probably why they don't chase us for too long. I mean, if they are an elite force, then I'd imagine there aren't too many of them. They're all just very powerful. Alright, so we cleared Full Moon without too much fuss, so here's the easy section. Now, there are a lot of ice schemos, and they've got their little fortresses of which they throw snowballs from, but as I said before, they're easy to juggle, and although they have a bunch of projectiles, I just wipe the floor with them so easily. And those ice fortresses, the tall ones, those are some of my favorite things because of where they're positioned and how they're destroyed. The little snow fortresses, they're not really much of anything. Once you destroy them, there's just that little image there. But that's not really part of the ground. It doesn't interrupt you in any way. I'm going to take care of this guy first before going after the ice fortress because the ice fortress is so good. Oh yeah, and I'm just going to overkill this guy. I don't get to overkill him that much though. But what if I could with this ice fortress? This is an ideal spot for just destroying these guys. I mean, there's absolutely no point because you won't get experience after they die, but for some reason I just absolutely love juggling them off their ice fortress. There's just something so satisfying about it. Sadly, we can't do that over here because it's just all mini snow fortresses. Next time, though, we'll find a nice fortress and I will try to just juggle these guys endlessly. Well, not endlessly. If it were endless, I'd still be doing it right now. Just as I'm doing the commentary for this playthrough. Also, the playthrough would have ended there. It would be really weird, honestly, because I'd have to play a game of catch-up. Because I would have had to be juggling a dude against a snow fortress right from the start of this LP, and then I would have just kept going as I was doing it, and then just keep going and going until we reach this point where I would never stop doing this. Just one eternal LP. How would I even upload like that? It's kinda hard to juggle enemies when you're doing, well, just about anything else that's not a video game. And I do a few things that aren't video games, like sleeping and eating, and sometimes I even go outside, which is at least a little more than apparently some people get. And I would have thought there'd be a few less stereotypical nerds, but yeah, apparently there are still people who don't get that much sunlight. Or shower, if conventions are any indication. I haven't been myself, but, you know, I've heard things. And apparently, soap is beyond some people, but it's a weird tangent. But anyway, yeah, now we've got more ice fortresses, which I'm definitely happy about. Oh, man. I don't know what it is about these particular enemies. I mean, maybe it's the fact that they have a bit more HP, but I don't know, even the thieves these guys are kinda based on, they're not quite as satisfying to kill like this, nor do I end up killing them like this. I do not kill any enemy as hard as I do the ice schemos. And I don't know why. I don't bear them any particular grudge. I like their kingdom, and I wish they didn't attack me immediately. But then again, we're in the ice area, so of course, the Frost King, probably not too happy with us being here. And oh, check this out. Look at that! Oh man, he is definitely dead by now. Omae wa ma shinderu. Except, you know, he is actually dead instead of about to be dead. I will not make these guys' head explode after saying that, though I wish I could. Or, I don't know, do something else, like cut them apart with blinds or something. Actually, no, I don't want to be Ray. That guy, that guy's the worst. Kenshiro's fine in that case. Alright, so, I probably shouldn't overkill a dude when there's other dudes on screen because they'll just get bored. And, you know, I want to make sure everyone's properly entertained. I don't want somebody just throwing snowballs from their fortress for nothing. I want to be bashing them against ice, constantly, for like an entire minute on end. So if you could just get in front of one, I'd really appreciate it. There we go. Like, oh no! Wait, he's still alive. I still got this. Oh, no, I don't got this. Darn it, I'm going to overkill someone here. And it's probably going to be one of you, because I'm going to do it at some point, and we are almost past their fortresses. I have to admit, I do actually like their little line of defense that they've got going. That's pretty smart of them, and few other characters have actually done that. The bears are really the only ones that have actually done anything like that. They just had one big arrow... Spades? The arrow launcher thingamajig. Arrow launcher, whatever. Yeah. Yep. I'm just gonna sit here and think about the poor defenses of everyone else while I just destroy this poor man. Just whack him over and over again. There's no point. His heart has stopped. He's not thinking anymore. He's quite dead. But I just keep going. Just keep killing him. Or maybe he's still alive. What if he doesn't die until he fades away? What if he's conscious for every single moment of this? I am just brutally murdering some poor man who just wants to live in his winter wonderland. But now I'm denying him this by just destroying him. I'm wasting time here. I could be going forward and saving a princess, but nope. Gotta torture this poor Eskimo. You know, this would probably be a lot better if I was doing this against a fortress. Oh! Boo. Alright, we get some healing from Candy, but we're out of ice fortresses, which means no overkill juggling like I was doing before. I only got to juggle a guy against a fortress once, and just juggle him against the end of the screen once. Oh well, I guess we'll just go through here in a speedy fashion or something, I don't know. Just quickly, I guess. Actually fight as intended, if I have to. Oh wow, I can't believe you're still alive. And now you're not. Well, that takes care of that, and this takes care of this. And if you're wondering, no, that's not actually a... that's the behemoth chicken. That's a weapon. But no, those guys are not animal orbs. They're just normal-ass animals. There are naturally occurring animals here. It's kind of weird. How do the animals get into orb form? Are they just completely different entities? Are there orb-specific animals? What are the animal orbs even? I don't know. Whatever they are, doesn't matter. We've got a giraffe buddy here, and that's all we need for a while. But over here, there are actually two animal orbs, but I only go for one because I forgot about the other one. But if we blow this horn, we get... Oh, sorry, we were supposed to do that closer. We get Crag's true spirit animal. This is Bipolar Bear. I'll use him later. For now, we still have to use Giraffe, but Bipolar Bear will maul anyone close to death. Enemies, or you and your teammates, so be very careful with that guy. So that was an easy section, but coming up here... The Frost King merely laughs at us before running away. Now, there are actually two weapons to get in this room, but I miss them both, even though one is very obvious. The other one, though, that one's very hard to find. And now here's a section that, admittedly, I kinda screwed up. So you have to listen to the sounds of both things. Arrows and whatever the Frost King's even doing, and I don't know why I did this so badly. I guess my volume must have been pretty low. Actually, no, for certain it was pretty low because I was recording this on the shitty computer, the shitty school laptop. Yeah, that thing had some terrible volume on it. Like, at max volume, I could only barely hear. I mean, to be fair, my right ear isn't all that good, but at the same time, I can still hear from this computer, so... Yeah, that was not very good. It was not a very good condition for that section because you actually need to listen for audio cues there. Otherwise, yeah, you're gonna get hit a lot. Thankfully, nothing really does all that much damage here, but still, it was kind of embarrassing to just jump into arrows that I could have very easily blocked. And that takes care of... oh, no, he's still going. Not bad. You persevered quite well. Okay, not quite well. Only regular well. Not quite well because, well, you didn't live that long. And so we fight the Frost King, which, I don't know, design-wise is one of my favorite bosses because he just looks kind of hilarious. I love his facial expressions, like that one especially. And I love that he just wastes a turn to laugh at you for no reason. It's very easy to hit him when he does that, but nonetheless he laughs at you anyway. So most of his attacks will freeze you. That one will. Can also damage you, normally of course. And his other attack, which is pretty obvious, it forms little ice patches on the floor where the ice is going to appear. That'll also freeze you if you're standing around on the ground. Now, I think we're actually approaching his next attack. Not just yet, though. Ooh, took a bit of damage from the ice spike. That ain't good. And he's gonna laugh, and now he should... huh, I thought it was 3/4. Ah well. If I can keep wailing on him, that's fine. But... there we go. Knew it would have to be soon. So now he starts dropping icicles from the ceiling, making that attack where he laughs at you a bit more dangerous, because you could go in to attack him, but you risk getting hit by stalactites. And yes, I know they're stalactites and not stalagmites. For some reason, that's the thing that I have not had difficulty with forever. The word stalactite just stands out in my mind as being the thing that is on top. And I don't even use that T trick, you know. Stalactite has a T in it, you know, like little T is hanging down, you know, stuff like that. No, I just haven't memorized for some reason. But anyway, yes, this is a bit dangerous. They're slow-falling icicles, so you should be able to dodge them, but because they're falling down so constantly, they might be able to hit you as you're hitting him. Of course, they do stop eventually, for now anyway. So you do have another chance to hit him, especially when he's actually starting the attack. Also, if it's ending just as he's doing his laughing animation, you actually have a bit of time to hit him. See, if the icicles had stopped there, then it would have moved on to this attack rather than he wouldn't have been able to refresh it, basically. So now that we're almost at 1/4 of his life, we're actually going to be getting to another phase, which makes this boss a little more tedious. Not quite corn boss tedious, but still it definitely prolongs this battle, and although I appreciate the fact that it's not the entire battle like it was with corn boss, eventually it does come to the point where, by design, he doesn't have much health left, but it just drops so slowly because you're not hitting him too often. Is it now? It should be soon. Are those falling a bit faster? I think they might be falling a bit faster. I don't know how fast they get over time. If it's like a slow thing or if they're suddenly like this fast and then a bit faster. There does come a point where he will speed them up quite a bit. There we go. I knew that was happening soon. And if I'm correct, yep, this is the part of the battle where he just stops his other attacks and only summons icicles and laughs at you. So of course it's very dangerous when he laughs because the icicles are constantly falling and you do have to hit him, but if you're too slow you will get hit by icicles, and if you get hit by an icicle, then you're going to get pummeled by icicles. And let me tell you, that is not fun. The nice thing is though, as I mentioned before, he might not always refresh his attack just right. It doesn't always happen, but I've don't think it happens in this recording, unfortunately. His attack is synced up pretty well. Yep, it continues right here. He got it just in time. Magic isn't the best thing here either, just because no matter what you do, you have to stop to attack. It's pretty decent in the first phase because Flash Magic hits him a whole lot, but you also have plenty of time to actually use magic. Here, though, you kind of just want quick hits like that. If you can hit him multiple times when you're doing that, yeah, that was a good one. The fact that I was kind of wrapping around him was a bit risky, but it paid off. I didn't get hit, and I did a bit of damage to him. Of course, we're not in a good position here. I refreshed it, darn it. And this should be the end. And I really feel sorry for him. Kinda goes out like Medusa. He also goes out screaming, and poor Crag was just trying to thaw him out. But to no avail, he was crushed by a chest. I mean, Crag doesn't care that much, he was just trying to be nice. Now this is a very annoying place to get money just because ice floors are the worst, and you're just going to be slip-sliding around, and yeah, I definitely missed some stuff. Ah well, time for one last bout of face eating before we move on to the final battle. That's right, indeed, we are approaching the end. But of course, before we do that, as you might have guessed, there is one more store before the end. Because I mean, why wouldn't there be? You gotta have a store. Oh yeah, and an arena. But that arena is the worst, and I definitely don't want to get to it just yet. I wasn't before, and I'm not going to now. So we're gonna check out this store. What you got for me? Ice puns, I hope. That's not an ice pun. That was. Oh, darn it, I missed my favorite line from him. I am cold, but my heart is warm. I love that one. Alright, anyway, this store's got pretty much everything except bombs. But bombs aren't going to be too terribly useful in the final area. Neither is this guy. He helps you find buried treasure, but I'm not going to use him. Stock up on sandwiches, though. You'll need them, because next time on Castle Crashers, we go to the final area.